The peaceful continent of Dominion has long been threatened by one powerful enemy, the Demon King. As always, heroes rise up to stop him. In the end, the heroes win and peace returns to the land. It is the same old story every single time. The man chosen to be the hero this time is Justice. He stands before the Demon King, who has terrorized the continent for thousands of years, and declares that today will be the end of his reign. The Demon King looks at him calmly and realizes he is here to kill him again. He has honestly lost count of how many heroes have tried at this point. Justice raises his blade high and tells the Demon King that his arrogance will be his downfall. He begins to glow with a holy aura as he activates the Sword of Judgment, granting him the power of an angel. The Demon King watches with mild interest as Justice charges in and swings his blade down with full force. After the fight, the Demon King reflects on how humans have not changed even a little in thousands of years. He remembers now. Justice was the 326th hero. He has been waiting nearly 2,000 years for a worthy rival, and if he is being honest, the whole thing is getting very boring. This is the mighty Demon King, Crab. He tosses Justice aside, having carefully avoided hitting anything vital. He wants to give the hero a choice. Either run away like a coward and carry that shame forever, or stay and fight until his very last breath. The choice is his. Heroes have been appearing one after another for ages. Some came from powerful warrior bloodlines, others were born from the progress of technology. As time passed, all kinds of heroes showed up. But no matter what they tried, not a single one of them could defeat Demon King Crab. The next day, Dominic, the top minion in the Demon King's castle, walks into Crab's room wondering why he hasn't shown up yet. He is clearly annoyed, reminding Crab that he told him yesterday and even a week ago that they would be heading to the human realm on time today. Crab sheepishly agrees, but Dominic isn't done. He says he called for him so many times that he assumed Crab was getting ready. Instead, he finds him sitting there binge-watching comics. The ruler of the entire demonic race, Demon King Crab, caught doing exactly that. On top of finding a worthy rival, his biggest weakness is human pop culture. Crab apologizes and admits he lost track of time, but says he just wants to finish one more chapter. Dominic tells him that if he is going to act like that, maybe he should just be the Demon King himself. A long time ago, while the Demon King was dealing with yet another hero's challenge, something unusual happened. The hero, the 4008th challenger, named Jeriel, kept muttering something as he lay dying. Crab found it surprising he even had enough energy to speak and thought he should have used that strength during the fight. But what Jeriel said caught Crab completely off guard. He said that more than anything, before he died, he wanted to see it one last time through the gap in the door. Crab had no idea what he meant. What door? And why was the title so long? Before he could get any answers, Jeriel was gone. Crab doesn't even remember the fight all that well, since too many heroes fall to a single strike. He knows he shouldn't think about it, but that phrase, the gap in the door, stays stuck in his head. It was clearly just a dying man's last wish, but something about it won't let him go. He was so bored at that point that he felt like he was losing his mind, so he sent Dominic out to find answers. When Dominic returns, Crab immediately asks if he found out what the gap in the door thing means. Dominic confirms he did, but warns him the answer might be a little disappointing. He explains that as time passed, human technology and culture both grew together. What the hero was referring to is called a movie, a large story performed by actors and writers. That long title Jeriel mentioned is actually the name of a movie opening the very next day. Dominic confirms this, and also mentions that dramas, comics, and animation have all become a big part of human life too. Crab finds this disappointing at first. He thinks humans should be spending that time getting stronger instead. If they weren't wasting energy on such things, their heroes might actually be worth fighting. Dominic wonders out loud if maybe pop culture is just a cover while humans secretly develop a new weapon against him, and if he should look into it. Crab refuses and says he wants to go check it out himself. Dominic gets nervous and offers to go instead, but Crab simply tells him to watch the castle while he's away. Dominic is worried, even though he knows it's not really his place to say anything. He just can't help thinking about what might happen. Now looking back, he truly wishes he had stopped him. From that point on, Crab slowly fell deeper and deeper into human pop culture. Movies, new merchandise, all of it. He became a full-blown fan. And so Crab, who might not know everything, has been enjoying pop culture longer than anyone else alive. He kind of understands why it pulls people in. It makes sense that he would get bored when no hero can ever match him. But still, he's the Demon King. How did his hobby end up being something created by the very humans he rules over? Whatever the case, he's not changing today's plans for anything.
Dominic tells Crab to hurry up and get ready because they're leaving, but Crab tells him to stop and asks if he has forgotten who he is. He is the ruler of the demons, an absolute being with the power to destroy entire worlds. He is the Demon King Crab. Dominic asks what his point is, and Crab simply says he is too lazy to go anywhere. The rookie minion of the Demon King's castle, Rocco, has just finished her cleaning when Dominic suddenly calls for her. She looks over nervously. Dominic tells her that as discussed, they will be heading to the human realm for a while, and if anything happens, she should contact him right away. Rocco is unsettled because Dominic looks exactly like an angry mother dragging a spoiled child out of the house. Truly, they both have it rough. They arrive at Meridium, the grand arena, and Crab still does not understand why any of this matters. He cannot see why he has to sit and watch a sparring match between two boring hero candidates. If this was all it was, Dominic should have just told him. Dominic points out that he would never have agreed to come if he had. They are both disguised as humans. Crab grumbles that Dominic always has an answer for everything, but says all heroes end up being the same anyway. He proposes a deal. They watch the start of the match, and if it is boring, they leave and go watch that re-released movie instead. Dominic's tone shifts and becomes serious. He asks Crab to think about how many seconds it would take him to wipe out the entire arena and everything around it. Most humans and demons have no idea how strong Crab truly is, but Dominic does. He has spent thousands of years watching the human world searching for someone worthy of being Crab's rival. Thousands. So he promises that this match will be worth watching. Crab feels a little bad for being so dismissive and agrees to give the match his full attention. He also apologizes for brushing Dominic off so easily. As a reward, Dominic tells him they will go see the movie after both matches are done. He already has the tickets. And yes, he almost forgot to mention they are not here to watch just one person today, but two. Crab wonders if there are really two candidates interesting enough for him, but he decides not to doubt Dominic since he has always been a loyal servant. Dominic explains that the first person to watch is the girl with the sword standing on the right. They should move now because the match is about to start. The girl seems distracted by something else entirely as her opponent walks in and looks around, wondering if he has the right place. He cannot believe the Eastwood side sent a young girl as their representative. He would like to take it easy on her, but too many people are watching today, so she will just have to take the beating. This is Gunn, the Ascalo regional representative, and the girl is Riley, the Eastwood representative. Crab cannot help but smile when he sees this. In his experience, big guys like that almost always get taken apart immediately. The mages step in and announce that mana shields will be activated before the duel begins. Riley looks at her opponent and wonders out loud if he is not cold standing there like that. This might be easier than she expected. Crab is impressed. Sparring matches now use mana shields to simulate real combat. He always thought real swords were better, but his eyes light up the moment Riley gets into position. The match begins, and she rushes in with a rapid series of paralyzing strikes. Both she and Crab can already see that the next move will end it. Gunn gets frustrated and charges in with anger, but Riley calmly releases her aura. Gunn feels like he has been cut apart even though there is not a single mark on him. He forfeits on the spot. The crowd watching doesn't seem all that impressed, and some wonder if the match was set up. Dominic says he has watched her fight many times, and it is still impressive every time. Crab asks who she is. Dominic explains that her name is Riley. She is 18 years old, and she has been training in swordsmanship since she was very young. Her greatest trait is raw talent. She is the kind of person who learns 10 things from being taught just one. Her speed at picking things up and adapting is far above anyone else her age. Crab is genuinely impressed. She caught his attention in just a split second. She clearly aimed for the exact spot where the shield dropped, but she had no intention of killing him. It was the most efficient way to force a surrender. She combined a cutting motion with pure killing intent. He has watched countless talented heroes over the years, but never one her age. It seems Dominic was right about her. Finding someone like her is already a miracle, so hearing there is another one surprises him. Dominic confirms and says this second one is quite unique. The next match is about to begin. The Eastwood representative, Troy, walks in cheerfully and greets the Ascalo representative, Gregory, who is already thinking that Gunn was arrogant and he will show everyone he is different. The match starts, and both Crab and Gregory are caught off guard at the same time. Gregory cannot believe what he's seeing. The stance and the energy coming off his opponent are unlike anything he expected. He wonders if Troy is seriously going to fire a sword key slash. Does he actually think he's just going to stand there and take a hit like that? He gets angrier the second, before forcing himself to calm. This has to be a fake-out to provoke him. And even if it is real, I can just dodge it. Crab thinks to himself that the sword key slash is about as basic as its name suggests. It's literally just shaping mana onto a blade and firing it. It's a beginner-level technique that most fighters throw away the moment they learn something better. Real or fake, Gregory just has to dodge it. He smirks, thinking the whole thing is a joke. Then his eyes go wide as the sword key slash launches so powerfully into Gregory that it knocks him out cold.
Troy tells Gregory he is not sure why he was so angry, but he wants him to know that he never looked down on any opponent. He respected everyone, including him. With that, the match is over. The crowd thinks it ended way too quickly. Crab turns to Dominic and asks what just happened. Dominic explains this is Troy, 17 years old, and like Riley, he has been training since childhood. If Riley is talent, then Troy is hard work. He learns slower than anyone else, but the level of precision in everything he does is remarkable. Crab laughs and says Dominic is wrong to compare Troy to something as simple as hard work. What he just saw was clearly a sword key slash. By definition, that technique is supposed to travel in a fixed straight line. It is practically a universal rule established by swordsmen over centuries. But that boy just broke that rule and turned it into something entirely his own. Both Riley and Troy are destined for the top. Crab can already see the seeds of a rivalry forming between them. Dominic is glad he brought him here, but then he notices Crab staring intensely at something. He follows his gaze and sees the two of them interacting, and his heart nearly stops as Crab turns to him with that look. The reason the Demon King got into pop culture is simple. For thousands of years, no worthy rival ever appeared to challenge him. He needed something to fill the emptiness. Now, Crab asks what their relationship is. Dominic explains they were both adopted by the same swordsman and are just childhood friends. After watching countless stories over thousands of years, Crab's favorite genre became romance. He looks at the two of them and says they are clearly not just childhood friends. It's the same old trope, a girl who cannot hide her feelings and a boy who is completely unaware of them. Right before his bored eyes, two masterclass performers have appeared, and in just a few years, a true masterpiece will be born. As they leave the arena, Dominic begs Crab to listen to him, but Crab is not hearing a word of it. He just keeps talking about what a perfect pair they make and wonders what they should name the child born between them. Just as Dominic is about to snap, Crab gently pats him on the head and says he never properly thanked him. He must have gone through a lot of trouble finding these two. Dominic is caught off guard and looks down quietly. He tells Crab he doesn't mind him rooting for their relationship, but asks if he was not looking forward to a final battle against worthy rivals. What exactly does he plan to do? Crab says that's a great question, and he has the perfect answer. He calls it the Demon King's masterpiece scenario. Step 1, he'll quietly support them from a distance, romance included, so that Troy and Riley can grow into perfect worthy rivals. Step 2, an epic final battle that fills the heart. Step 3, once he's enjoyed every moment of it, he'll fake his death and slip away. Step 4, he will watch their happy life as they marry and have children, perhaps even naming one after him. And furthermore, if the child born between them also becomes a hero, the whole story can begin again with a new worthy rival, and this cycle could go on forever.
Dominic completely forgets what he was about to say. The burning feeling in his stomach makes him think it might be some kind of curse. He honestly doesn't feel confident enough to stop Crab. The best plan right now is to pray that nothing goes wrong. Just as he's about to say something, Crab's tone suddenly shifts. He murmurs that it makes sense now. Talents like these would not appear all at once unless someone was behind it, and it was her after all. Dominic has no idea why Crab is suddenly acting this way. Then a voice speaks up from behind them, someone Dominic didn't even sense approaching. He's shaken. How is that even possible? The woman asks if the man in front of her is with Dominic, and Dominic asks if she knows Mr. Kuro. He wonders if maybe Crab made some friends during his visits to the human world. The woman then turns to Crab and asks why he changed his name. If he was going to change it anyway, he should have picked something cooler since he's the Demon King after all. Dominic immediately releases his demonic aura, ready to get rid of this woman for knowing his master's true identity. Crab smacks him on the head and tells him he might as well announce to everyone that they're demons if he keeps doing things like that. The woman asks what brings the Demon King to the human world and whether he has finally decided to wipe out humanity. Crab tells her there's no real reason for her to know. He has no desire for a long conversation with someone who has been wasting the name she carries. But since he saw something very interesting today, he'll leave her with just a few words. He tells her to take responsibility and raise them properly until the very end. Before she can ask what he means, the two of them vanish. She stands there unsure, but figures that since he said he saw something interesting, he must have been talking about her two pupils. Troy walks over and asks what she was doing there. The woman thinks about what Crab just said and then suddenly pulls both of her pupils into a hug. She tells them she wants something sweet and suggests they go get shaved ice to celebrate their wins. Both Troy and Riley are surprised by her sudden mood change. As they walk away together, Dominic quietly asks Crab about the woman's identity if it's not too much to ask. Crab says Dominic wouldn't have known her back then. She's the one who taught swordsmanship to both Troy and Riley. Her name is Belle. She was once a hero herself. She appeared before him to fulfill her duty and eliminate him, as heroes do, and truthfully, he should have died that day. Their fight was a constant back and forth with neither side gaining the upper hand. He was simply overjoyed at finally meeting a worthy rival and fought without thinking clearly. He barely remembers the details of that battle. He only came back to his senses after their strikes clashed head-on, and in that single moment, along with a flash of everything he'd ever lived, her blade grazed past him.
She definitely could have finished him right there. She should have. But at the very last moment, she twisted the blade away. For Crab, a grazing wound was nothing serious and healed easily. But she was only human, and the strike he left on her was something she could never fully recover from. The hopelessness of that moment turned into bitter rage, and he was about to finish her off. But for some reason, he chose to let her live. He cannot fully remember why. Knowing how simple and arrogant he was back then, the reason was probably something like telling her to come back and challenge him again once she recovered. That is all there is to it. Dominic is shaken. He has no idea what she was thinking when she pulled that blade back, but if she had aimed where she truly should have, Crab would not be standing here right now. It seems he has made yet another enormous mistake, and when those two finally become heroes, perhaps the same thing will happen all over again. Crab tells him the past is the past, and that they should focus only on Troy and Riley from now on. He thanks Dominic again, saying things have become a great deal more interesting. Dominic wants to tell him to just go home, but he cannot bring himself to call what Crab did that day simple or foolish. There was meaning in the choice he made, and no matter how difficult the road ahead may be, all Dominic can do is follow silently behind him, just as he always has. 3 years later, Crab shows up at Troy and Riley's home, wanting to sincerely congratulate them both on becoming heroes. Troy thanks him but has no idea who he is. Riley guesses he might be some acquaintance of their master. Crab tells them to let him set down the gifts he brought before they get into introductions. Troy is impressed by the basket packed with expensive fruits, and Riley offers to get them something to drink for making the trip. Before Dominic can do anything, Belle stops him and says he's the same person who came to the arena years ago. She tells him he had better explain how they knew to find them here. Dominic looks at her with a face full of defeat and quietly begs her to just play along for today. He promises they are not here to cause any trouble. Belle gives him a sad look and says she can tell that he does not really know what he's doing either. Dominic thanks her for understanding his pain. Somewhere nearby, a demon has just woken up with a pounding headache, wondering why he is even in the human world. He has a faint memory of someone with green hair doing something to him, but the more he tries to think about it, the worse his head hurts. He shakes it off and looks at the human in front of him, wondering how much longer this one will hold out. This is Liv, an Eastwood hero who is part of the patrol squad. He curses under his breath, knowing he needs to report this immediately, but the demon is not giving him a single opening. He cannot figure out why an intelligent demon is lurking this close to a village. The demon looks at him and asks if Liv still thinks he's dealing with a pushover after taking this much of a beating. Then Liv realizes he's done for, as a tentacle shoots out from behind and moves straight toward his head. He is too slow to react. He is killed. The demon tells him he should feel honored, since he doesn't usually invest this much time into anyone. He thinks to himself that it has been quite a while since he came to the human world, and wonders if there is anyone interesting around worth his time. Back at the home where Troy, Riley, and Belle live, the atmosphere has shifted completely since the arrival of Kitra, who claims to be a former colleague of Belle. The silent standoff between the two of them has been stretching on for minutes. Troy can feel the tension and thinks it's painfully obvious they are not on good terms. It feels like he can barely breathe, and Riley feels exactly the same way. Dominic just thinks this is what it must feel like to be at a friend's house while the parents are in the middle of a fight. Eventually, Troy cannot take it any longer and decides someone has to break the silence. He speaks up and tells Kitra he said he went on missions with their master often, but honestly it's a little hard to believe since she never once mentioned any colleagues. Crab says it makes perfect sense that they would not know about him. Despite how she looks, Belle has the heart of someone much younger and absolutely loves keeping secrets. Anyway, he says Troy must be the one she wouldn't stop bragging about. Then, as almost an aside, he asks Troy if he's ever thought about changing his hairstyle, since a neat appearance is an important quality in a hero. Troy wonders if it really looks that bad. Crab says since today is the day he officially became a hero, they should change it to celebrate a fresh start. He asks Riley what she thinks. Riley says it does look a little messy at first glance, but she doesn't think it needs to be changed. Even if it did change, it's fine the way it is. Crab is almost overwhelmed by how adorable they are, while Dominic grows more annoyed by the second at these pointless tangents. Crab tells Troy to go get it cut now before he forgets, but Troy says this is all too sudden and he needs to think about it first. Crab pulls out a large sum of money, hands it to him, and tells him to get it cut and keep the change. Troy immediately heads out the door, leaving Dominic genuinely surprised that it actually worked. Belle grabs Crab's attention and says watching him fool around like this, I assume he didn't come all this way just to mess with everyone. She tells him to explain himself. Crab simply smiles, which annoys her even more, and then says that everyone is entitled to their own secrets. But since they gave him such a warm welcome today, he'll share two things. First, he has already achieved one of his goals, and second, it's time to move on to the next one.
At the same time, a warning blares out across Eastwood. An intelligent demon has been spotted in sector GAP-7. The alert comes through Riley's bracelet, and since that sector is close by, she wants to go help immediately. Belle suddenly understands that Riley was Crab's target all along. She tells Riley to wait, pointing out that Troy should already be in the area since he just stepped out. But then she noticed he left his bracelet sitting at home. For a hero, leaving their bracelet behind is not just careless, it is a serious violation that can lead to real punishment. But no matter how slow Troy can be, he is not stupid enough to forget
forget something like that. Belle turns to Dominic and remarks that he is quite the competent subordinate, is he not? Dominic's throat tightens as he thinks back to a few minutes earlier when he was helping Troy carry the basket. He had felt a strange chill at that moment, like something had been taken from him. Sure enough, that was when Dominic had slipped the bracelet off Troy's wrist. He just never expected anyone to notice. Riley decides to head out right away since she doesn't want anyone getting hurt while she waits. Crab tells her to be careful, but before either of them can leave, Belle steps in front of them. She knows she cannot stop them, but she tells them to hear her out first. She says what they have done today is the absolute limit. Crab asks what she means and why she drew a line on the ground. Belle looks almost impressed that he is still able to breathe normally standing in front of her. She lets out a long sigh and then releases the full weight of her aura, telling them not to dare cross that line. Crab can push through it, but Dominic feels like he is about to collapse on the spot. Belle asks if they really thought she would just go along with everything without saying a word. She tells them to stop treating her like a fool. If they understand, they should get out of her sight right now. She doesn't even finish the sentence before they're already gone. At least they know when to listen. Crab teleports them both to a nearby forest and checks on Dominic, who looks like he's on the verge of passing out. Crab tells him he has clearly grown a lot from training under him, because any ordinary demon would have been out cold from that aura. He compares it to the golden pressure technique from a certain battle. He apologizes for not warning Dominic ahead of time. He figured Belle might release some killing intent, but he did not expect her to go that far. Anyway, once Dominic has rested a little, they have work to do. Crab wants a full update on Riley's situation. Dominic looks ready to give up entirely. Crab tells him he can curse him out in his head, but only 10 times. Elsewhere in the forest, the demon has stumbled into a completely different situation. He says he just woke up randomly in the middle of the woods with no idea where he is. All he wants is to go back to the demon realm, so he asks whoever is in front of him to hand over that expensive-looking item. A small man clutching a large bag begs him not to take it. The demon, Tento, wonders what could possibly be inside to make someone act this desperate. He decides he will either kill him or just put a few holes through him like the others already lying behind him. It has honestly been a while since he's had prey this entertaining, though he is a little disappointed none of them were women. Then, Riley arrives and reports through her bracelet that she has made contact with the demon. She notes 2 injured civilians in the area and announces that she is beginning the subjugation. The moment Tento lays eyes on her, he lights up and launches himself at her with his tentacles. Riley summons a wave of ink and deflects every strike with ease. Tento is genuinely surprised and even a little thrilled. He can't understand how she's staying so calm while parrying his attacks without breaking a sweat. Just what kind of woman is she? Meanwhile, Crab watches everything through a projection with great interest. This is exactly what he needed to see. He had to create a situation like this to find out just how much Riley has grown. If she is truly talented enough to one day stand as his rival, she has to prove it right here in this moment.